Guten Tag and welcome back to No Way! Tell Me Everything. I am your host, Jess, and today with me I have Iben, who I'm excited to have on. Iben and I actually have known each other in a way a really long time because I have a little thing here that I wanted to show you. We used to dance samba together. I found my samba hat. I was cleaning out the garage this weekend and I was like, I should bring that for the show. But that was before I even had my first daughter. So that must have been like 13 years ago. It was right when I moved to Denmark. But that is how I met Iben. We used to dance samba. She used to be one of my teachers. And since then, I think we have completely changed, both of us, into different versions of ourselves, or at least evolved into who we are more authentically. And we kind of crossed paths again when I started opening up more about my spiritual past and present. And you had been doing that already, I think, for a number of years. And then our hairstylist was like, that was how it happened. Yeah. We found out we have the same hairstylist. And she was like, oh, I have so many clients who are in this whole spiritual space. And this one client, she just dyed her hair dark after like being blonde for a really long time. And you would love her. And then she sent me your profile and I was like, I know her. And that's when I started seeing all the stuff you're doing. And so I am super pleased to have you on today. And without further ado, Iben, welcome. Would you mind introducing yourself and what it is that you're currently up to?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Jess. And I was just thinking about right before I came on here, I was like, if people have told us like 13 years ago, we would be sitting here today having this discussion on your podcast and we will be in this spiritual world, I would be like, no way.
No.
It's so funny. Also, the thing I was thinking about was that when we put in the date, I didn't realize until a few days ago, I was like, it's a 999 portal today. Did you know
Is
that?
it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Whoa.
No, I didn't know that.
It's a 99 and also it's like the year is a
A
9
9
year.
year.
So we're actually
Yeah.
doing this in a 999. So I think this is just
Wait, so
beautiful.
quickly, for those who are listening, what are these? Because we hear a lot online of like these 88 portals, Lionsgate portals, 999. What is this portal kind of about?
This portal is a bit different because it's the triple one. It does both things. It also releases, but it also manifests things. So you can release and you can attract in this portal. So that is just like the gist of this one is like it's a bigger one than some of the others. There's always things you can do in a portal, but it's not like, okay, the energy is only that day. It's with the full moon and the new moon as well. The energy will be open around this portal. So there's sometimes I have clients and they're like, oh, I'm so stressed. I didn't get to do the Lionsgate or the 88 portal. I'm like, calm down. Like the energy is around that setting. So you can always do that. And just feel into what it feels. I always do that. Feel into what feels right for me on that portal, if it resonates or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally just posted about that because wow, this must be a really, is this why I feel exhausted, like to the absolute bone? Because we have the blood moon, we had the full moon, the lunar eclipse, now it's a 9/9 portal. That feels like that must be a lot of like
Hell yeah.
intense energy.
Yeah, it really is. And especially with the eclipse happening. And right now we're in the smack middle of it. So it's like, it's very intense. I hear a lot of people being drained and tired and yeah. So,
You know what? I'm making an executive decision. I'm going to air this episode tomorrow. I was going to do I usually do like a mini episode on Thursday, but this is probably important for people to know because I also just say the same things. I just made a post about that as well. Like, there's a lot of talk online when you get into the spiritual space, the astrological space of like, you need to do this today because it's a full moon or this is and I'm like, hey, listen, if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't force yourself to do it because then you're actually like working against your energy. The energies will help you if it's making you like whatever you're drawn to, do that.
The only thing, not the only thing, but what these portals just help with is just making the veils thinner. So it's easier to get in contact with the guidance that we want. But it's not like pressure. I think I read like you had a post on Lionsgate, and Lionsgate didn't
Mhm.
resonate with me at all this year.
No.
Not at that time. It was actually early on and a few days later that I felt like, okay, here it is. So yeah, I think that's great advice. Just feel what feels right for you and just do what feels right.
Yeah. I mean, I just had it with the blood moon. I mean, I know that this was like, and I'm super bummed because my kid wouldn't go to bed, so I actually missed the whole thing. So I'm
Yeah.
just watching people's like recaps of how beautiful it was. Like everyone was at Ama Beach apparently. There was like 15,000 people or something.
Wow.
Um but yeah, everybody was talking about like how powerful this was and the things you needed to be doing, and I honestly like people were asking me what are you doing, and I'm like I don't feel like doing anything. Like I'm just doing my normal eclipse stuff and journaling and introspection, but I woke up this morning, like late last night and this morning I started feeling this really heavy emotional like pull around certain subjects that I'm already working on unblocking, but it felt like they were supercharged and like
Mm.
under a microscope. So I feel like that's just me feeling that energy now that other people were feeling, maybe a few days ago. But that's why like I woke up and I did my meditations to into those things and I did my journaling into those things, and I'm probably going to do a little bit more. Like just you need to work with what you're in, right? You can't force it.
No, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Because then you won't be focused as well. So it won't help you if you force like your spiritual work.
No, you have to do it when it comes to you, right? Like, you know, I don't want to talk too much about it because I do want you to introduce what you're doing, and this actually is some of what you do, at least in your online world. You talk a lot about this kind of thing. So what is it that you do daily? Like what is your mission?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a weaver, I'm a energy healer, and when I heal, I use light language, I use sound, so instruments, and I use crystals. And I'm also on a journey for awakening and remembering my my psychic gifts for clairvoyance. So I'm currently in school for
Mhm.
1.5 years with my mentor Tove Luca, and it's an amazing journey, and that really helped me as well to open up to more gifts in me. And then I facilitate a lot of different ceremonies.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to make it to one of your ceremonies. I'm like never available, but they look, especially the ones that you hold like out in nature,
Yeah,
they just look amazing.
yeah.
Are you holding more nature ones? Or is it too cold now?
It's more in the summertime because, here in
Yeah,
Denmark, it's kind of hard.
Denmark.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely there are gonna be some more, and there are gonna be retreats as well at some point. I just went for a weekend just with one of my friends to Sweden. I just come back from there. And we just had ceremonies, just us two, and just connecting with Pachamama, Mother Earth.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's beautiful work to do it in nature and just to really be with the elements, because you can just call in the elements and work with the elements inside. But when you do it outside, you can always also feel it if you do a meditation inside or you sit out in nature and do your meditation. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always like for me, that was a huge part of my spiritual awakening. I think I talked about it in one of my previous episodes. Not that I expect everyone to listen to every episode, but when I went through my spiritual awakening, I suddenly wanted to be in nature and I felt so connected. And nature just speaks to you in so many ways, right? Like, not only does it force you to introspect a bit, but you look at everything and you're like, wow, this earth is beautiful. Everything's so abundant. Look at all the magic. Look at these beautiful patterns. Like, it just takes you completely out of like your everyday mind and to this whole magical world. I couldn't recommend going out into nature more.
Completely. Like I cut it off because it was too painful for me to be in it with my journey, because it pulled me back with everything that I know spiritually wise. And I was like, yeah, I can go for a walk and that's fine. And then I was out again. But when I really dove into it, I was like, every time I took a walk in the forest, I was crying when I had to leave because I just wanted to live there. Just wanted to stay. I didn't want to go back into Copenhagen.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to a woman from Iceland also last week where I was telling her that like I never wanted to go to Iceland, and people were telling me, "Oh, you should go. It's so beautiful." And I was like, "I don't want to go. It's cold. I don't want to go. It's expensive. I don't see the point of doing this." And then one day, like literally one day to the next, I was like, I need to go to Iceland. I need to go see the Northern Lights. I have to go see the nature. And when you go through spiritual awakening, I feel like that's such a common thing that people have. Like they suddenly are like, I want to go camping.
Yeah.
And you're like, I hate camping. But suddenly you're like, no, actually, I actually really like it.
And it's not just to look at those breadcrumbs when you have like push or a pull from or towards something to see, okay, what is that thing that I'm avoiding around this place or space or people, or talking about light language or something else. Like, why am I had a friend and she was like, oh, I really have such a resistance to your drum and your light language. So I did a session with her, and then we found out why she had it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we awakened some gifts in her. So that was magical.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surrounded by, in a lovely way, but I'm surrounded by so many different levels of belief systems and
Yeah.
different types of belief systems. Like I have atheists, I have agnostic, I have people who believe in some things and adamantly don't believe in the other. And then I have, the people who are a bit more like me that are just like, hey, if it resonates with you, it resonates. If that's your experience, it's your experience. Like I'll try anything pretty much that feels right. And it's kind of funny to me sometimes because the level of pushback some of the people I know have with certain things is almost, it does make me laugh a little
Yeah.
bit because they're like, no, absolutely not. It's not. And I'm like, okay, I mean, if that's what, but if it were me, because I always look at those strong feelings within myself with curiosity of like, what is this pointing me to? When I see it in someone else, I immediately am like, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, there's something there.
Yeah.
There's something
Exactly.
you're holding on to that's making you feel so strongly
Yeah.
about this benign thing.
Yeah.
Like if you have no reason not to be like very strongly against something, then you should be indifferent,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the same way,
Exactly.
like if you believe that you're worthy and someone tells you you're a piece of shit, if
You
you
don't
know
care.
that you're good enough, you
Yeah.
just don't care. It
Yeah.
doesn't upset you at all. You're like, okay,
Okay.
sure,
Fine.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like any emotion tied to something, especially negative, right? It's like, what's
Yeah.
going on there?
It's very interesting.
You mentioned the light language, and that is one of the big things I wanted to have you on because that is something that I don't feel like a lot of people are necessarily like aware of. And I also feel like I actually won a contest from, do you know Kiara Nala?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she held a contest and she was giving away some free giveaway things for her podcast. And I entered it and I actually won a light language transmission, which I thought was funny because like of all the things she was offering, that was the one where I'm like, okay, sure. She sent me a light language transmission that she said had to do exactly with the thing that I was working on at that time. So I was like, perfect. I
Yeah.
obviously needed this.
Yeah.
And I listened to it every morning and I can feel something going on in my energy and my body when I hear it. So, skeptics will say, oh, it's like ASMR. Your brain just likes the tickly feeling of the language or whatever.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, even if it's a placebo thing, I do think it's been working. It's been helping me with that thing. It's a pretty transmission. It sounds like musical. I love it. Like it's great. And that's kind of where I sit with light language is that it's not that I don't believe in it or do believe in it. I haven't experienced it. And since everything is based off of, for me, my belief system of
Mm.
what I've experienced, I'm like, it definitely does something to the energy. I haven't figured out for myself what I necessarily feel like is going on, but I know what the people like you who do light language believe is going on. And I think it's really important that people know what it is, because if it can help anyone, then it should be talked about more. And also understand what's going on, because it does make me sad when you see people doing light language videos and you see a lot of times people jumping on and just immediately calling them crazy. But I would just love if you tell us your experience with it.
Well, I love your approach to things, and it's similar to mine as well. Like, don't bash it if you haven't tried it. Like, just see what takes you where and how it resonates in your body, not in your mind. So
Mm,
that's the first thing about light language, is that it doesn't speak to our rational logic mind. It speaks to the soul and to our energy fields. So it goes past through the mind. So that's why when you're describing so perfectly that you could feel something's going on, but you can't really figure out what's going on. And that's perfect, because that is the mind trying to figure out what is being maybe said, or what is this actually doing in my body. But we can't pinpoint it like that. It's a feeling. So Light language speaks, like I said, to the soul and to your energy fields. So the same thing with the clairvoyant part is that you look at this energy field and then you can see what is happening past life or earlier in this life, right now, and in the future. And that's the same thing with light language. You can pinpoint it into working with past lives, or you can work with trauma from this life, or you can work with what's going on right now, or things that you want to calling for the future, like activating gifts or belief systems that you want to apply in your system.
Hmm. Yeah. Thanks for that explanation. So when you're doing a session and it comes through, it's just always, I guess, for the highest good of whatever that person, like with me, when I received the transmission from Kiara, it was exactly what I was working on. And I'm assuming it just works in the same way.
It does, but if I'm working with a client, I can again be specific with a topic or something that this client wants to work with. Like it can be, like I said, past life trauma or money blocks or whatever it is, a belief system that is not serving them anymore. So you can go in and just say that you want to help this person with exactly this thing, and then you will channel what the soul or the energy field needs to hear to heal this or to activate.
So have you ever experienced, again, from my experience, sometimes I feel like I need to work on something and I'll go into a psychic receptive state to get guidance on that. And the guidance that I get is not related to that thing, but that is what
Thing.
I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever experienced that where like someone's like, I want to work with my money blocks. And
Mm.
then the transmission you get is like, well, you kind of should work on this first and it will.
Yeah, definitely. It
Yeah.
happens a lot because again, our mind have this belief system of thought that this is the issue because we're seeing it or dealing with it again and again and again, but they don't, a lot of people don't know the root of it. And again, that
Uh-huh.
can come from this life or it can come from a previous life. So it's really important to just like be open and receiving when you get both for me for receiving what the guides are telling me. Also, when I'm in a clairvoyant session, the guides will tell what you need to know now and not what you want to hear. Not
Yeah.
always. Sometimes they
Yeah.
will, but yeah. So for me, I could feel it. Yeah, I can feel it in my body and it comes out. And they don't really have an alphabet, so you can't like translate it word for word, but you can get the feeling of what it is that it's working for. So when I'm in a ceremony where I have multiple people lying there, I can feel that, okay, this person needs this type of language. So it changes from what person that is in the room. So I speak to the collective, but I also speak to the individual soul of what they need.
Mm.
Sometimes afterwards I can remember and tell them if they want to know, like, okay, you were working on this part.
Right. When you said there's no alphabet and everything
Mm.
else, like, because I've heard this is probably something that people who don't believe in light language think is like, you can go online and look up, Arcturian light language or something, and you'll have 5 different people saying it's an Arcturian light language and they all sound different. And so I'm kind of, what do you have to say to that? Because I'm sure people go like, obviously it's made up because if it was the same thing, it would sound exactly the same. But even within one person speaking, it feels like, or at least I've experienced, that it can sound different
Yeah.
anyway.
It really can. And it's because like if you think about our planet Earth, right? Us here in Denmark, we don't speak the same way, not toning the same way as people in Dutchland or
Uh-huh.
in the States or
Uh-huh.
Italy or yeah. It sounds different because the tone, maybe they're located different places on that planet, like the Arcturian planet or where they're from, or Lemurians or whatever you're channeling. And it can
Uh-huh.
also be the guides that are making it sound a little bit different. So it's not the same, but it's also like what comes from the person who's channeling it as well, because we are an empty vessel, but we also have our abilities to talk through as well. So it's like it's a combination. But I definitely understand why people can be like, okay, so it's made up because it doesn't sound the same. But language can also be different things. Like also, I do a lot of hand movements when I speak as well. And some people write, some people paint. Like I've been activated from cartoons, like
Wow.
from Vajana, both 1 and 2. There are 2 points in each where I got activated from the drawings. So you can get activated through art and sound.
What do you first of all, Vaiana, for my American listeners, is
One,
Moana. They
yeah,
changed the name over here for some reason.
I know why.
Why did they change the name?
This is so stupid. They didn't look up this name before they took it. Porn star I think I can't remember if it's Italy or France, but there's a porn star named Moana. So Disney can't be related to her.
Right.
And also,
Sure.
I think she had like patent on her name as well.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Great explanation. Love that. But what do you mean you got activated? What happens when you get activated? Do you mean that's when you started doing it or
Now, the first time I started doing it, I was in a ceremony with myself, and I had something online going where she was like taking us into deeper roots and healing and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I just started speaking, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" But I just kept going, even though I knew it was really, I felt it was really weird, but at the same time, it just felt so natural, and I could feel the healing in my body. I can feel like the blockage in my brain starting to dissolve as I was speaking. And then I started using it when I felt some heaviness in my body. Then I just asked for it. And when I started to activate it, all of a sudden I couldn't shut up. I would be literally in the toilet just talking. I would be sitting on the toilet and be like, "La, la, la," but just talking all the way. And sometimes when I go to the ocean and I talk to the ocean, sometimes it feels like it's a friend that I hadn't talked to for a really long time. And I'm like so excited. I'm like a kid again. And then a lot of magical things happen when I do that. And it's really, yeah. For people, it sounds crazy. But for me, when I'm in it, I'm like, oh,
feel like, most things sound crazy to people that are not based in the mainstream that they haven't experienced. And I think for me, that was really a big part of my spiritual awakening was before I opened up my mind, I had really, through many different types of organizations and societal and religious, learned to completely, push away and alienate really like anything that wasn't the norm,
yeah.
right? Like you want to belong, you want to be part of the big group and everything. So everything else sounds crazy. And the cool thing to do is to say everything's crazy or this person's crazy instead of just being like, I don't care. Doesn't matter. So I think everything I say right now, I mean, it must be hard for, I don't know if you have this experience, but I was talking about ego deaths and like I had a huge, huge ego death maybe like 2 years ago where I'm literally like a 180 from who I was. And it was hard for me, but I actually reflected that must have been really hard for the people in my life as well, because
Mm.
suddenly the person that they had known for, the past, I mean, some of my friends from when I was like 6, but let's say for the most part, the people I knew here from Denmark, 15 years, it was like suddenly Jess is a different person. And, that must have been hard for them as well to maybe they felt a little bit like they lost a friend. I don't really know. But I feel like the ones who stuck with me, I mean, they're definitely one of my friends is like completely science-based atheist. If you can't prove it with science, I don't believe it kind of person. We're still really, really good friends and I love her to death. But sometimes I imagine the stuff that comes out of my mouth, she must have to do so much self-control to just be like, mm-hmm, sure. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the hand movement? Because that's something that I see quite often when you see these little like light language videos is the hands. And I think that's the one that I really understand the least because with the sounds I can get it. Like even with it sounding different, I'm like it's a frequency, it's an energetic frequency. So maybe the sounds have to sound different because they need to, affect your energy differently, that makes total sense to me. The hand thing, obviously I do energy healing, so I understand how you can work with energy. But I'm interested to understand how the hand thing happens for you. How does it feel coming through your body, and kind of how does that add on to the light language that you're speaking?
For me, it feels like it's an extension of the light language. And I think I've always done it because I've always spoken a lot with my hands. People are always like, when I was younger, I was really, really dark hair when I was born and growing up. And people always thought like I was Italian because I was like moving my hands a
Oh,
lot
talking about
around.
hands. Yeah.
But so I think I've always done it. And then just when I speak and also with the dancing, like when I dance, people are like always I was always being complimented on my hands and my arm.
You did have very beautiful arms. I remember how beautiful your arm movements were. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, so I think that's just like it's an extension of me using the light language to emphasize what I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I see it. I think I feel also that you can use the hands with the light language without speaking. Like you said, like if you have the intention, you set the intention and you move the arms, then it's the same way as you said, like healing, that you can use the hands with energy without them doing like specific things, but you just channel what the hands wants to do for the body. And that's the same thing with the language. It's an add-on. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So I guess it depends on the person who's doing it, if
Yeah.
it's an extension or they're actually doing some sort of. Did you say you were a weaver in the
Yeah.
beginning?
So that's also
Can
a
you talk
part
more
of
about
it.
that?
I do like the thing with my hands also when I heal, like I weave things together. And also a weaver is also that you pull things from the past and heal that and alchemize it,
Mm.
transmute it, and then you can go on and open up for the process of calling in gifts or yeah, activating gifts, dormant gifts.
And how do you do that with the weaving? I asked just because I have also when I do energy healing sometimes, not often. I also get this like urge to do certain shapes with my hands, a little bit that looks a little bit like light language, and I have been like, I don't know what this is, but okay, and just done it. So I'm really interested now of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Well, the weaver part is you have to think about it as you're building a bridge from the divine to the physical. So that is what a weaver does. It connects those two. And then with the hands, you work with me. I see color. I see the
Hmm.
energies in or out the body. So for example, if I'm healing, then maybe I will go like this and I can see that I'm weaving like a gold thread in an area where maybe a bone has been broken or something else, or a trauma happened in your womb space or something. So
Hmm.
that is basically what I'm doing, like using the hands as weaving between past and present.
So this is so funny. I didn't know that you did this.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to definitely talk to you more about this offline because um I haven't done it in a really long time. Even when I felt the urge, I was like, no, thank you, because I had a really bad experience because I didn't know what was going on. I was doing an energy healing and long distance energy healing on someone in the States. And I suddenly felt the urge to weave this symbol and I started weaving it and it was a golden thread. And it was this golden thread that I was weaving this symbol. And I had this urge to leave that there in her energy because it had to like clear out some darkness and it was just going to do that by kind of like absorbing
Yeah,
into her energy, if that
yeah.
makes sense. And so I did that and then I ended the session and I went about my day and as I was going through my day, I just started to feel like for people who aren't watching, I'm like sinking in the ground. Like I just started feeling like really, really heavy. Yeah. And so she's on a completely different, I think she's like 8 hours behind me. So around the time that she woke up, I wrote her and I was like, hey, how are you feeling and everything? And she told me and she was feeling great. She's like, I feel amazing. I haven't felt better. I have so much energy. And I was like, that's funny because I have none.
No.
I'm like dead. And then she's actually much, much more psychic than I am, which is great. So I was like, can you just like feel into what's going on there? Like, did I do something wrong? Because I felt the need to do this. I did this. I hadn't done it before. And I feel like maybe I did something I wasn't supposed to do. And I don't know. And she felt into it and she was like, oh my God. And she described the symbol like to a T that I had made. And she was like, but there's still like, you left like
You
a
left it.
string.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then we had to kind of work together and with my guides to like sever that and pull back my own energy. How did you figure out how to do it properly? Because now I'm a little bit like, I don't know how to do it. And I maybe shouldn't have just been like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, and that's also why I feel like the path of remembering one's gifts is amazing, but also ask for help, take courses, study the work, because this isn't just fun and games that you're playing with. You can really hurt yourself. So, not other people, as yeah, you can heal them too much, so it can open the wound up a bit too much for them as well. But it's mostly for yourself that you close down afterwards, and then you set the intention that no threats are left from you to that person. I also do multiple times a day, uh, just in case, and just for also just staying in my own space. I call all of my threats back to me, not just the ones that I've intentionally weaved in, but also the ones that I'm unintentionally weaving in because of the way I grew up and things like that made me look at the room and be safe and see what's going on with other people. And then I'm really fast to being over in other people and making sure that they okay. So I'm always outside of myself. So I'm really learning to call all of that home so I don't get drained with them with other people.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think I can't remember if I said it on an episode or if it ended up getting cut out, but I literally was like, if anybody knows a weaver that I can like get some sort of mentorship from, because yeah, I mean, you're right. That's exactly how I felt afterwards because I had done all of the different energy courses. I knew how to do energy healing. I knew how to close my energy off that way. But it was like exactly like you described. It was like my soul remembered something. It knew that this was going to be helpful. So I did it. But this is the also thing too. Like if you're listening to this and you're connected to your guides and you feel the subtle changes and things, when they tell you not to do something or to be cautious,
Yeah.
you should listen
Yeah.
to them. And they literally were like they put their arm on me. They were like, whoa. And I was like, la 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 la, just didn't listen at all. I mean, I swear my guides are so patient.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I looked it up afterwards because I also talked to a friend here who does energy healing, and I described to her what had happened, and she was like, "Oh, you did a weave, like you're a weaver,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Well, okay,
Yeah.
never heard of that." So then she told me to watch Discovery of Witches or something,
Yeah.
where I think they also do it, which
Yes.
I haven't done. Sorry, Emma.
It's beautiful and also helps like when you see movies like that and also like yeah cartoons or something you can get activated and you can also remember a gift and you can also learn about the gift through
Yeah.
that.
Well, don't worry, Eben, because now I'm just going to write to you about it and you can
Yeah.
talk to me. But I also wanted to ask you another question because you mentioned, and this is something that it's been coming up a lot for me in the sessions that I've been working with. And so I would just love to discuss this with you and see your take on it. But like, I also believe in past lives and also epigenetics, even, familial passed down things of holding on to things that don't belong to you, that you're keeping blocks and beliefs. And I feel like there's always this kind of fine line for me when I work with people of it definitely can be something from a past life. It definitely can be epigenetics. Sometimes I can feel or I get information that it definitely is. But I feel there is sometimes a tendency in some of the spiritual circles to just write it off as, oh, this is from a past life. And in reality, it could be, but it could also be something that you're experiencing in this life,
Yeah.
because especially if it's a cycle or something that you need to break, you will experience that. So you have to make sure that you're not forgetting the lessons in the human experience. And so I often, if I can't immediately be like, yeah, this has nothing to do with you, this is just something, well, it does because it's from a past life, but it's not from this incarnation. A lot of the times I'm always encouraging people of let's make sure we do like a two-pronged approach of let's handle it, like what's going on in this experience. And then we'll also see how it could have influenced you, especially because it repeats itself a lot of the times. If you're bringing it through and you're not clearing it, you will keep experiencing it. And I think that there's sometimes this quick fix mindset
Mhm.
of, oh, I don't have to deal with it. I can just do this energy healing and clear it out of my past and it'll all be okay. And there's definitely people in the spiritual space that are selling that messaging. Yeah. Yeah. So what's your take on that? On the whole, like when you work with your clients, you said you work a lot with, or you work
Past life.
sometimes, I guess, with
Yeah.
past lives and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
If it comes up, then definitely. And it's actually been coming up a lot in my clairvoyance session.
Mm.
And And I always get healing tools for the clients in this life to heal what is going on in the past life. And also if I'm doing a healing session with them, then I can feel into that past life trauma and then I can release it from there so it doesn't keep repeating itself further on. But yeah,
Mm,
it's not like with everything, like if you hit your hip or you break your hip, like it takes shorter time or longer time to heal from that. And that is the same with the if it is a trauma from a past life and if you had that trauma repeat itself in a lot of past lives, like many of us has been burned multiple times at the stake or being killed for talking about what we're talking today about today, or been abused or sexually abused or something, and this just keeps repeating it can hold us back from, not that you had like that kind of trauma in this life, but it can hold you back from going out and speaking your mind or showing up on a podcast or showing up on Instagram if you want to build a company or if you want some kind of job or you want this type of relationship. There can be something there from earlier lives. That I had actually one client not that long ago where she was like, I was like, she has like death anxiety, and we could see that that was from past lives because she had lost like a lot of people, like in a very short time. So also in
mm,
this life, she was like, am I getting kids or not?
mm,
Walked into that. And then I could see that also from the past life that she lost her kids and her husband like really fast. They were killed in front of her. So of
mm,
course she has like this feeling coming into this life, and she's like, I haven't lost anybody, why am I feeling like this? When people call me, I'm like scared to death that something happened. And then we can figure out,
mm.
okay, it's from there, and then I can get the tools to heal her, or I can give her as well tools that she can do afterwards herself to keep healing on this, because no, it's not a quick fix.
No. No, and also in my experience from myself as well, like, there's a difference. People think that you work on this wound, you heal it, and then it's suddenly just better and everything changes. And it's like, well, no, because you still have the scar from the wound. So, like, you still have it. You're just maybe like, if you're talking about fear of visibility, right? Because I also struggled with that for a while, because I also know in many past lives that I was very severely punished for that, right? So you can work on that and then you can feel less scared doing it, and that energetic block is released. But in this lifetime, you still have to then make the steps to go do it, and you're still going to hold on initially a little bit to that feeling of this is a little scary, but you just don't hold yourself back as
No,
much.
no,
Or, you know what I mean? Like, you don't censor yourself because you're not worried that the words that you're going to say are going to end up getting you burned at the stake, but you still have to take the action steps to go do it.
that's why also when people come for healing, I also give them work, like homework, because
Yeah.
like if you just go there for healing, that's fine. But when you come home and you live your life completely the same way, then yeah, of course, there's been some part we have healed, but you won't get the results if you don't put in the work yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. We live in a culture that's very much like wanting a quick fix and not wanting to have to do the work and just, but I'm sorry, that's just not how it is. You know, I have the same thing, and I give little, hopefully digestible small bits of homework, but you have to do it too because it's a change. Like, it's funny because people will be like, I want to be more in shape. So then I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to commit to doing it 3 times a week. And they'll do that, you know, with success or not, depending on what's going on. But let's say somebody who's really invested in change for themselves, for their health, they will stick with this plan. They'll, you know, eat healthier. They'll go and work out 3 times a week because they believe in that and they want to do that. But then when you tell people, like, sure, if you want to change this behavioral pattern, then you need to make these small changes every day. And they're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No,
I don't want to.
no,
And it's like, well, I say this all the time. I'm sure there's people who are like, shut up, stop saying this. But nothing changes if nothing changes.
no.
Like, you have to
Yeah.
make these changes. I feel like in my spiritual journey, I've had jumps where there's been like a monumental shift here and there, but 99% of the journey is just these small little incremental changes
Yes.
that you make that end up adding
Yeah.
to the bigger thing.
Yeah.
Also, the best the best things that happened to me, the biggest leaps, they were when I decided to save myself.
Hmm.
Like, when I decided I had the power and I could do the change, it was light speed versus that victim or passive mindset, depending on how much you're sitting in it, of like, well, I'm just going to wait till something changes. Like, will something change? Everything is changing constantly. So, yeah, something
Yes.
will change, but it's not going to necessarily be how you want it to change.
I could be like, okay, I want to go to the woods today, but I'm just sitting here in my chair and being like, why am I not in the woods?
Mm.
Why isn't things changing? Because I'm actually just keep sitting here in this chair. I have to get up and bike or take the train to the forest.
Yeah. And like your past will pull you back. That's why you have to keep making these little changes. Because if someone
Yeah.
goes to you for a clearing and you clear it, it's almost like sticky glue or something. Like you've pulled them away from the wall, but they're still kind of stuck to the wall
Yeah.
and the wall's trying to pull them back
Yeah.
there. You have to keep going away till you break away from it.
Yeah.
Even like, I don't know if you've been experiencing this right now with eclipse season. I was on a good thing. I was doing my, tried and true eclipse introspection things that I do. My path was going great. And then I got absolutely walloped in the weekend of like all of these old beliefs, all these old patterns coming back up and wanting to pull me back in my comfort zone. It's been very challenging year for sure. And there's been monumental growth in that. And when I chose myself and started making changes, huge growth, but it's been a challenge. And I feel like right now, and I think it's the eclipse season, that old life is trying to kind of pull me back
Mm.
into it. And some of these old things are coming back up again. And I'm like, I don't want to, I'm done with you. Please go away. Stop coming up. And I feel like that's where,
That's the first little
yeah,
because we get that
exactly.
feeling like I'm done with you. I have been there. Why am I looking at you
Hmm.
again? So it's like I look at it like
Well,
like with your kids, right? I look at it like a little child that's like, "Mommy," like pulling at
yeah.
you, and you with a kid, you won't just like ignore it or be like, "Why the fuck are you here again?" Right? You will be like, "Okay, what's up, honey? What's the matter?" So with me, I'm just more like, I had this feeling at one point with my old emotions that I was like, I was hosting a party and I was inviting all the good feelings in. And then I was just stressed at this party because I was like holding the door for all the bad feelings. Like, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. But when I started to let go of that and just being everybody's welcome and I accept all parts of me, then I was like, okay, oh, that's you. Hi again. Yeah, that's fine. Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, cool. You can hang out, take a drink. I'm over here now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just welcoming them in instead of, yeah, I think a lot of that happened when I started to work with the dark goddess energy. That helped me a lot with the accepting all parts of me and all sides of me. And I also went on a journey of going back to my natural roots and
Which look beautiful.
just having like that's been in many years I've done that, having glasses instead of contact lens and no makeup, and I went without a bra for a year, like just doing all these things and finding out, why am I doing these things? Am I doing it for myself or am I doing it because of society and what society wants me to look and feel and show up like?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I actually had that thought this morning because eclipse season is actually a time where I do like a lot of spiritual deep diving. Because, like you said, I am frustrated that these things are coming up, but I've been around this block enough to know there's still things that I'm still holding on to. They wouldn't be coming back up again if there wasn't something still attached to them energetically. I was going to work this morning. I spent the whole morning before today just journaling and feeling into and meditating and like what's going on in here. And I uncovered stuff. I was like, how is this even attached to this? But okay, I need to work on this clearly. And this time of year, I always do like a goddess path where I tap into these very strong goddess archetypes,
mm,
and especially Persephone for me, who is this is the time when she goes down into the underworld. So I always do this time to like really introspect every single day and connect to that part of myself. I have her lovely little altar right here behind me. But I always connect with that because that energy of the goddesses has been extremely helpful to me in the past of tapping into that part of yourself and accepting that all these things exist inside of you and that's fine. And exactly to your point, it is a little kid. It's just like it wants attention. So I guess with this 9-9 portal, I will be probably working on letting go because that's what I'm feeling. I'm very much in a shedding. Everything for me feels like shedding, purging, letting go. Because it feels for my energy like I know what I want to manifest. I'm working towards it every day. I'm taking those small steps, but the universe is showing to me where I'm holding on to things that
Mm.
are not going to help me get there. So instead of continuing to manifest what I feel like I want, I need to listen to what the universe is urging me to do personally, which is to dive back into the things I'm still holding on to. And I feel like that the universe is always talking to you. Your energy is always talking to you. If you'll just quiet a little bit and listen to it, it's trying to help us always get where we want to go. And that's again why you have to follow whatever you're feeling or being led to do.
Yeah, and also sometimes the universe will get like a bad rap because people are like, why the hell did you put me on this path? Like, why am I going this way? It's like, yeah, because there were some lessons that you needed to learn, like going like on a roundabout or a detour. And that's just, we're humans. We have the human experience. That's what we signed up for. There's going to be some pain here. Uh,
Yeah.
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 And I love that
Yeah.
little There's this little clip from a film that people use on the spiritual path and awakening of this guy like reading a manuscript, and there will be like me making the deal with the guys. I'm going back to Earth or something, and he will be like, "Why?
Mhm.
Why?" And then he turns the page
Yeah.
again, and he was like, "Oh, that's why."
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will always understand it in
Yeah.
retrospect.
People make those, like, offhand comments sometimes of, like, "Oh, if you're psychic, why didn't you know it was gonna happen?" Or stuff like that, and it's like, well, you know, you clearly don't understand how that works.
No. And also, it's really hard to be psychic about your own direction because you have a lot of feelings attached to your own direction. So, of course, you can get guidings and inklings on where to go, and you can feel if it's a yes or a no or a maybe. But it's just difficult because the channel isn't clear, or your emotions are affecting it.
Yeah, there's, like, almost 0 ability to step fully outside your ego for that. I mean, I go if I'm really lost or I really wanna connect, I will go to a different psychic because
Yeah,
I can do my daily guidance.
yeah,
I speak with the universe every single day via the things going on around me, but I can't sit there and do a psychic reading for myself in the way that someone else can. And I also firmly believe that we're not meant to because you you need to learn those lessons. And if you were to know everything that's gonna happen, you wouldn't be able to do what you need to do. So, like, I've even had I mean, when I've done readings for people and they've asked me, like, "How is this gonna turn out?" I'm like, "Okay, so there's a few different scenarios of
yeah,
what I'm seeing,
yeah,
and these are the lessons here and these are the lessons here. You're having lessons on either path.
yeah,
They're just different. Those lessons are meant to make you grow." And when I feel like when you have that mindset, like you were just describing, of it's not always gonna turn out how I expect or in a positive way, but as long as I know that it's always for my highest good, I feel safe and supported in knowing that. And that is a really hard lesson
yeah,
sometimes when you have really shitty things happen to you or the situation with the world. There's horrible, horrible things happening. How can this
yeah,
be?
yeah,
It's not I don't understand it either, but I'm not meant to understand a lot of things. We're not always meant to
no,
understand why things happen
no.
because it always is part of the bigger picture that we just can't see.
Exactly. And it's kind of fun. There were like two things popping up for me. One thing was like, would you, even though you like the movie, but if you knew, like before watching a movie, you knew everything was gonna happen, like every event, every scare in the movie, if you like horror movies and getting scared, like you wouldn't have the the juice like watching the movie as if you didn't
Yeah.
know. So that's the same with the life thing. And I did a meditation while in the summer vacation, and I have different past life. One of my past life is that I'm a star seed from something called Mentaka, and there I had a meditation where I was taking back there, and I was seeing the planet being destroyed, and it completely destroyed me, that I wasn't able to tell the people from my planet that this was going to happen, that there was going to be an attack on the planet. And it just floored me completely. And when I got out of the meditation, I was so sad, even though the guides there, the Mentakan family, came to me and said, it's okay. This was meant to be. So it's okay that you saw this too late because it was supposed to happen that way. But I can feel that in that lifetime as well, like going into my seeing part, that, okay, that was a part of why I was scared of going that way, to see the difficult things and not just see like the unicorns and the fun stuff in
Mm.
people's lives as well as with my own. And that really like helped me to see, okay, I have threads from further back that have held me back now, and that's why, okay, it's okay. I can see, and I can be in the tough spots as well. Also because one of my I feel a lot in my when I'm
Mhm.
avoiding, and also when I do my healing. So sometimes it's like, whew, it can be really, really tough to figure out how to balance that so you don't get really emotional about what you're feeling that the other person has been through.
Yeah, I'm mainly clairsentient, so
Mm,
I fully
yeah.
understand that. There have definitely been some experiences where I've felt some very hard and not depressing, but like your heart aches for that person when
Yeah.
you feel what they went through, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's definitely hard. And I think the one thing you said is one of my Roman empires, if you will, of like, it's not just sunshine and rainbows, and it's not meant to be just sunshine and rainbows. And we're so conditioned to feel good all the time. I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on the fun. I fully believe that you follow your joy and that will lead you where you're meant to go. But you also have to be okay and know that it is totally good for you to let yourself feel the heavier things and process through them and be in those different, dualities of life, of like the happiness and the heaviness, because it all leads to, back to our previous conversation with the shadow work and everything, it leads to the full self. It leads to your full authentic self, to hold space for all of those different parts of yourself and all those different emotions inside of
So
you.
because how could you know that something feels good if you don't know if something feels bad? As well as the light and the dark. You need both.
I had been drinking, I mean, officially, if the US authorities are listening, since I was 21. I had been drinking quite a long time, and then when I quit drinking and I started allowing myself to be uncomfortable, to feel things that made me sad, to do the healing work that was uncomfortable, that was depressing, I was shocked. And I mean, I had learned to disassociate pretty young because of my younger life, but the things that felt good to me, that felt joyful, felt 200 times more joyful. The things that felt heavy also felt really heavy, but I'm not able to feel that full spectrum of how amazing life can be and how happy it makes me, and, crying at patterns in leaves or something because it's so
Mhm.
beautiful. Like, when sometimes people look at those kind of people, like I'm not one of them, like they look at us and they're like, Jesus, these cringy, corny people
Yeah.
who are just so excited by life. And
Yeah.
it's like, why would you not want to be
Yeah.
excited by life? But you have to be able to feel that full spectrum. It's like, it makes everything sweeter, but it also makes the heavier feel heavy, but you get used to it. Like, you get used to that
Yeah,
feeling
you
and
get
knowing that it's
fast
temporary and it's
out of
going to
it.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much
Yeah.
faster than when I was younger. I would be like, when I went down, I went really down. And when I went high, I went really high. But now it's just like, okay, I can go down, but I'm up again fast. And it's not because I'm bypassing the hard feelings. I just really feel the feelings. I think there's like a study that says that an emotion passes through the body in actually 90 seconds if we just allow to feel it completely and not dissociate from it or push it out or push it down. Um,
Or push it inward to
yeah,
like identify with the feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So when I feel something heavy is coming on, I go deep with it. And then it's
Mhm.
very easy to let it go afterwards. Of course, I'm still like, a lot of my clients are like, "Oh, it's so easy for you." And no, of course, I'm still getting triggered. I'm dealing with shit. I had a
Yeah.
hard life,
Yeah.
but I just know, and I have the abilities to help myself through it. And light language is actually a part of it. When I feel this heaviness or sadness or something in an area, I will speak to that area. I will ask the guides to channel to speak to that part of my soul or that part of the energy field that needs healing.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, I will have like a cry about it. And then I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do about it? I allow myself to be disappointed. I allow myself to feel sadness at something. And then I let it pass through me. And then I get back because I think that's where I went wrong for so many years was I identified with those
Hmm.
emotions and I made them parts of myself. So like I would feel disappointment and then I would internalize that of, oh, I'm disappointed because I'm not good enough or they don't like me because I'm too talkative or something. And then you start to split those parts off from yourself too because then it's like, oh, they're not good parts of me. So they don't get to hang around, you know? So it's really important that you let them pass through you and out and you
Yeah.
don't just,
Hold on.
internalize these
Yeah.
feelings or get pulled back where it wants to pull me back in that victim mindset. This is happening to me because I'm a victim and I'm like, nope, this happens to everybody. Everybody deals with this stuff. You learn to switch your
Yeah.
mindset really quickly as well. I had a realization the other day where something wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go and this is one of those patterns that's been coming up that I always expect the worst thing to happen. I
Mm.
literally never expect that the good thing will happen. And I've been working a lot on that. And it was just the other day that I literally said, Jesus, I really immediately do go there. Like I was doing a visualization and my first thought every single time was like, and then this. And I'm like, no. And then I get to the next scenario and I'm like, or then this. And I was like, okay, Jesus, Jessica, you really are really bad about this. But I'm also aware that this is an epigenetic thing and it's a past life thing. And, it's complex. I got to work through it. When you start to notice that, you can also have a bit of humor with it because I
Yeah.
just laughed. I was like, oh my God, stop it. Go the other way. Be happy. Something good's going to happen. But it's really good to know those things about yourself and to have a sense of humor, honestly, because healing isn't always like, we've just spent like maybe 10 minutes talking about how you can feel really heavy and whatever, but healing is also joyful.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be you sit in this healing depth where you're just really sad and heavy all the time. It's like, no, it needs to be everything because you have to move out of that. The danger of living too much in that is that it's hard to pull yourself out.
And I think a lot of people get themselves stuck in that process when they start with the healing work or the self-development. They think they need to go into depth with every single trauma and call the feeling back and call the vision back and everything. It's just like for some things it will help, but for a lot of things it was just like more just feel the energy around it and then let it pass through. You don't need to re-traumatize yourself every time.
That's why I'm really passionate about not reliving it because I think that was my main mistake was I thought I had to go back and relive everything from childhood and completely go through the whole thing. And it just kept me in this very victim mindset, very disempowered, very heavy and depressed stage for a long time until one day I literally was just like, enough.
Yeah.
Enough of this. Like,
Yeah.
what is the point of doing this? This is supposed to make me feel better. And I just feel like shit. Enough of this. And so now I'm like, no, you don't have to go back into that headspace. You actually shouldn't go back into that headspace. You can deal with it in other ways.
Yeah, many years ago, actually. Now, I took education with neuroscience as well, so I learned all this
Hmm.
around the brain, and then I combined it with the body at one point, and now I'm just like doing it in a more spiritual way. There are some good nuggets in there to understand around how our brain works and how we work in this world and in this body in this lifetime.
On that note, it's now an hour and 7 minutes. So I'm gonna have to say, as much as I love talking to you, and I just looked at the clock and I was like, holy crap, I swear it was like 10 minutes, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's a perfect segue because I'm starting a program in October where we're going to use the method that I ended up using where I actually felt the most change in a positive mindset, which is this kind of three-pronged approach, which is you have the spiritual where you connect to your intuition and your guides. So you have that support there and you don't feel like you're doing this journey alone. And also the universe has way more, resources and knowledge than we ever could. So that's always really nice to have. And then you have the neuroscience part of it, which is the subconscious reprogramming where we go in and kind of rewire some of these pathways so you get rid of these old limiting beliefs and then you rewire them with these new ones that will take you where you want to go. And then the third one is somatic, is learning to be uncomfortable, learning to be in your body, learning to process things and let them go. And that's called Glow the F Up. It's starting in October. There is a free main character energy activation masterclass where we're going to do those three things as an exercise in the session and tell you a little bit more about the formula behind it, if you will. And that's on the 24th. You can sign up for that with the link in this podcast. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about? Anything you have coming up or you want to plug, Eben?
I have a ceremony for equinox, fall equinox, and the new moon together on the 23rd of September. And then I have like the new moon every month. I always do the new moon. I love that because the full moon, I love the freaking full moon, but there are so many people doing the full moon. So I'm like, not many people are doing the new moon. So I love like going in there with that intention and planting in the seeds. And also, coming up. I've had having a 3-part series with a friend of mine where we're cacao ceremony when we are doing work with the dark feminine energies. So yeah, and also of course I'm on this education for the clairvoyant. So sessions right now is only 250 kroners.
Yes, and I can recommend you from my friend who went to you and said that it was amazing and she had a great session with you. So definitely go see Iben if you're interested. And thank you all for listening. This is your little mini episode that's not mini. It's going to be probably about an hour. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Everyone have a great week, and I will talk to you next week then.